Welcome back, Barça family. Tonight's Champions League showdown between Barcelona and PSG gave us drama, goals, and huge talking points. From Eric Garcia silencing the critics with a world-class performance, to Dani Olmo failing to impress on his big chance, to Ferran Torres equaling Thierry Henry's record at Barcelona, there is so much to unpack. We've also got full player ratings, analysis of Pedri, Yamal, Rashford, and the tactical decisions from Hansi Flick that shaped this epic night in Montjuic. Don't miss a single detail. One Barcelona star passed the test with flying colors versus PSG, while another failed. Two members of the first-team ranks at La Liga giants Barcelona endured altogether contrasting performances in the club's latest outing. The pair in question? Eric Garcia and Dani Olmo. Both defender Eric and midfielder Olmo were in from the off this evening, as Barcelona welcomed Paris Saint-Germain to Catalonia's capital for a Champions League clash. When all was said and done in a high-quality affair, it was the latter who emerged on the right side of a 2-1 result. Barcelona's two Spanish internationals played their part in as much, but with vastly varying success. Eric, from his berth at the heart of the host's backline, shone bright, winning the vast majority of his individual duels, acting as a crucial last line of defense, and distributing the ball with poise and accuracy. The former Manchester City man fully justified his inclusion over the likes of Ronald Garcia and Andreas Christensen. And then we come to Dani Olmo. With Fermin Lopez sidelined through injury at present, Olmo was handed the chance to prove himself Hansi Flick's undisputed first-choice attacking midfielder. But the 27-year-old simply couldn't get things together over the course of the 90 minutes. Sloppy and at times downright uninspired, Olmo struggled to get himself up to the pace of the game, looking a step behind those around him. The Spaniard's talents remain unquestionable, but major improvement will be required if Olmo hopes to establish himself as first choice in Barcelona's most high-profile fixtures. Barcelona star bests Thierry Henry record during PSG clash. A head-turning statistic surrounding the efforts of Barcelona star Ferran Torres in front of goal has come to the fore on Wednesday. This comes after the former Manchester City man found the net for the latest occasion. Barcelona are of course currently locked in action on the continent. In the second outing of their Champions League campaign, the Blaugrana have welcomed tournament holders Paris Saint-Germain to Catalonia's capital, for a highly anticipated clash. The aforementioned Ferran was for his part in from the off for the evening, favored to Robert Lewandowski as Barca's attacking spearhead. And the Spanish international did not take long to justify his inclusion. Picked out courtesy of a brilliant pass on the part of Marcus Rashford during the first half, Ferran made no mistake in finding the far corner of the PSG net. And in the process, the 25-year-old joined an altogether noteworthy figure in the all-time Barcelona goal-scoring charts. With 49 goals for the reigning Spanish champions to his name, Ferran has equaled Thierry Henry's tally from his time at the Camp Nou. Not only that, but the versatile attacker boasts a superior goals-to-minutes ratio, at 171, to Henry's 174. Yamal 8.5, Pedri 8.5. Barcelona 1-2 PSG, player ratings. On Wednesday night, Barcelona and PSG faced off in one of the standout fixtures of the UEFA Champions League group stage, and the clash certainly delivered on its promise. Despite both sides missing some key players, the intensity never dropped, as the game was played at a high tempo with chances created at both ends. Barcelona struck first in the opening half through Ferran Torres, only for PSG to hit back quickly thanks to Seny Mayolu's equalizer. After the interval, the French champions began to control more of the ball, though Barça still carved out dangerous opportunities. In the end, PSG's persistence paid off as they found a late winner in the 90th minute, capping off a strong second-half showing. Here are the full player ratings from Barcelona's 1-2 defeat to PSG. Wojciech Szczesny, 7. The goalkeeper was forced to make just the one save in the opening period and was relatively reassured with his distribution. Not much he could do about the goal scored against him from a 1v1 situation. Gerard Martin, 8. Martin was silently one of Barcelona's best defenders on the night as he effectively shut down PSG's right flank to good effect. He kept Ibrahim Bey and Warren Zaire-Emery under check and did well maintaining the high line. Pau Cubarsí, 7. Cubarsí should have done better to prevent PSG's equalizer on the night and was caught off guard with his committed tackle going to the ground. Barring that, he was decent in defense with solid distribution. Eric Garcia, 8. Garcia was the surprising pick in defense for a game as competitive as last night's, but the decision likely stemmed from the manager's preference for a ball-playing presence given PSG's pressing structure. Did well under pressure and found passing outlets more often than not. In addition, he also lived up well to the defensive expectations placed on him. Jules Kounde, 7.5. The Frenchman went up against many of his compatriots on the night and did a decent job at controlling Nuno Mendes on the flank, although he was no match for the Portuguese international in terms of brute pace. Kounde connected well with Lamine Yamal and created havoc in the PSG area with his overlapping runs and overall had a solid outing. Frenkie de Jong, 8. The Dutchman came very close to being sent off for a reckless foul on Nuno Mendes but was brilliant apart from that lone incident. De Jong's press resistance was tested to the limit against PSG but he passed with flying colors, rarely caving into the high press. He did show some signs of fatigue towards the end of the first half but was otherwise flawless. Pedri, 8.5. Pedri spoke before the game about how it was critical to retain possession to dominate the game against PSG, and he lived up to his word by phenomenally staying calm under their pressure and wriggling through tight spaces. The Canary Islander was brilliant with his passing range, playmaking, and press resistance, controlling the midfield and dictating the tempo for most of the 90 minutes. Dani Olmo, 6.5. While Olmo connected well with his teammates in tight spaces, the final product was often lacking from his boots as he could neither find the finish nor the final ball into the forward line. Lamine Yamal, 8.5. Back into the starting lineup after a long time, the young phenom required just 1 minute to pull off an audacious dribble against PSG's defense and went toe-to-toe with perhaps the best left-back on the planet in Nuno Mendes. While the defender did well to keep Yamal under check, the youngster continued whipping out sensational passes and plays regardless and his task became easier in the second half after Mendes was cautioned. Marcus Rashford, 8. Another UCL night, another assist for Barcelona's new signing who looked sharp for most of the big game. Rashford started on the left wing in Rafinha's absence, and while the play built up far slower on his flank than it did on the right, he did not hesitate to go for the dribble and came out successful more often than not. Provided a wonderful pass to Ferran Torres for the team's opening goal. Ferran Torres, 8.5. Torres had a sensational attempt cleared off the line early in the game but eventually got on the end of Rashford's assist with a perfectly timed run to give Barcelona the lead. The Spaniard was sharp with his decision-making and movements in the PSG area and is slowly but surely evolving into a special dynamic striker who can become a monster in Hansi Flick's setup. Official, Barcelona starting lineup against PSG UEFA Champions League. FC Barcelona are all set for their biggest test of the season so far as they take on PSG in the UEFA Champions League in a little over an hour. Ahead of kickoff at Estadi Olympique Luis Companys in Montjuic, Barcelona manager Hansi Flick has announced the starting lineup that will take the field against Luis Enrique's men. There are some notable changes made to the team that started against Real Sociedad over the weekend, starting with the defensive line, where Pau Cubarsí and Eric García replace Ronald Araujo and Andreas Christensen at center-back. Gerard Martin continues at left-back despite Alejandro Bald's return to the squad, while Jules Kounde starts at right-back to make his 150th appearance for Barça. Wojciech Szczesny makes his second appearance of the season in goal. The midfield unit sees Pedri and Frenkie de Jong form the double pivot, while Dani Olmo returns to the team as the number 10, at the expense of Pedro Fernandes, DRO. Lamine Yamal, after returning from injury in the midweek game, starts on the right flank replacing Rooney Bargi. Meanwhile, Marcus Rashford continues on the left wing in the absence of Rafinha. Ferran Torres gets the nod over Robert Lewandowski as the center forward. What a night of Champions League football in Barcelona. Eric Garcia passed his test with flying colors, Dani Olmo will need to step up, and Ferran Torres is writing his name into the history books alongside Thierry Henry. Despite the 2-1 defeat to PSG, there were plenty of positives for Barça, especially the performances of Pedri, Yamal, and Rashford who continue to shine. Let us know in the comments, who was your man of the match for Barcelona? And don't forget, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you don't miss the latest Barça news, transfer updates and match reactions. Visca Barça!